All right, it's a couple days later. I just came straight in after work. I'm actually working on the property of my grandparents right now, doing some nursery season for hazelnuts. But it's been sitting a couple days. I accidentally left the battery plugged in, so we'll see if she even cranks. But if she does, I'm gonna start her up. Hope things broke loose. Take my intake rag off again. All right, let's see what we got here. Hey. Oh, that's way better than it was. Oh. No. Hi, Grandma. Alright, I've been real bad at recording while working on this thing because really thought I was going to need an injection pump. Was kind of gearing up to put it on hold for a while, but ended up pulling out the banjo bolt, taking a closer look at it for the return line on the fuel injector, the diesel injector pump. And the banjo bolt for the return line was completely plugged, meaning that it was building pressure inside that injection pump. That pressure was only way to go was into the cylinders, hence the super high idle. Cleaned that out in an ultrasonic cleaner overnight. Boom. Truck runs great. Turns on, runs. I'll show you guys that in a second. Right now I'm just wiping these windows down with some cloth so I can move it undercover and drive it into the shop that they've got on the property soon over here. And I just put some brake fluid in and bled the brakes a little bit, just enough that I've got pedal. Yeah, I'm so pumped, guys. I'm excited to show you what it's going to look like after a nice pressure wash and smearing the tires and such. Maiden voyage complete. Lights are working. Smoked for a while warming up, but once I took it down the road, maybe a quarter mile to here, it stopped smoking. So I'm just gonna assume that injectors are gonna need some help for a while. Gonna put some air in the tires because that's rough. Continue to bleed the brakes because those are also not activating for a couple of pumps. But man, I'm so excited. Look at that beaut. Listen to her purr. Alright, here we go. I hear that mechanical flasher. I'll wait for this person to pass so I can video on our little country road in peace. Radio's not working. Very unfortunate. Heartbreaking. But here we go. All 55 horsepower. There's first gear to about 15 miles per hour. Second gear feels pretty good. Max about 25. Probably could go a little higher. Look at that. Look at that. Car feels great. Third gear at about 40. It's got 5 gears. I don't know if I'll be using fifth very much. Definitely not up hills, but that was a little too hot to try a 0 to 60 at some point here, but feeling pretty good so far. Oh, whoops. There you go. So we're just driving. I have my wife in the car, and we were driving to my parents' house, and the car started dying over and over again. But when we stopped, it starts right up pretty easily. So this is a couple hours later. We actually dropped it off at a convenience store and then came back. Driving home now, being real careful, driving it pretty slow. I assume that one of the fuel filters is plugging, or the pickup for the tank and that old diesel in it. Not really sure yet, but I will let you know in the future whenever I solve that. Hopefully we don't get stranded. Thanks. Wow,
Thanks.
there's just a... That's crazy.
What?
Hey, alright, it's the next day here for Christmas, and just out for a little morning look at the car before I have some plans for the day. But we've got, looks like a fuel filter here, and then an inline filter here for fuel, which is set up inline just before this electric fuel pump, it looks like, that was added aftermarket. Although I believe that that fuel pump is not turning on, and I can't find any switch in the cab to make it turn on. So I'm hoping this isn't plugged or our issue that's stopping fuel. I'm gonna replace, I've got both of these filters here. They're pretty easy to get right at Napa. So I'm gonna replace both the filters and take it on a test drive and see if it fixes our issue. Crossing my fingers, hoping that it's not the pickup in the tank, which it very well could be, and also could be that little fuel pump. So, yep, I'll let you know. Oh, another thing I noticed, I was parked outside and my grandpa told me that this might have happened, but I didn't notice anything when I was washing it. But after sitting in the rain for a long time, the passenger side, it's got some wetness over there, some dampness. It's not flooded, but there's for sure just a slight leak somewhere. It kind of looks like it's coming from a pillar area forward of the door, but I'm unsure as of now. I will try to look into that. Might be a future video though. All right, we're back with the diesel Toyota. Today I spent quite a bit of time just going through each of the fuel components in the engine bay, making sure everything's working. Our little feeder pump is working. It's not very strong, might have some clog in it, but it's feeding. New filter's clear. All these lines are, I couldn't suck fuel through anything. All the way back to the line that goes back to the tank. Disconnected the line just before the fuel tank and was able to blow through it. So I was able to kind of one by one work back to my fuel sender, which I've actually already sanded on this a little bit, and you can probably see those are just absolutely cooked. The worst part of that is that the inside of my tank, pretty bad. I actually think that this is a tank that was replaced when my grandpa started working on this. So I'm gonna see if I can do something to it. There's my fuel gauge. Gonna see if I can't look up some products to throw in there and see if I can salvage it. You can see, like, this is the ring where that sender goes. This is the gasket for the fuel suction pipe or whatever. It looks great. So I think that these parts aren't that old. They just sat with water in them for a long time. So I'm gonna try to save it. Gonna sand this guy up. These are really hard to find, actually. Parts stores don't carry them because it's a separate suction pump versus a fuel sending unit for the gauge. So places have that, but this isn't a part that breaks a lot, and so it's kind of a custom order thing online. There's nothing on Prime. It'll be a long wait to get one of these, and so I'm gonna throw it in the parts cleaner. I think half of it can fit in my Sonic's parts cleaner. All right, spent some quality time with some sandpaper. Cleaned up the outside of these guys pretty good. Here, I'll try to get you a better. Outside's all right. And then I've got this copper wire that was probably ridiculously expensive, but it's what I found. Steel would be better, but it's pretty flexy, and I just took a point and started shoving it in both sides, spraying carb cleaner back and forth until I could get a copper wire all the way through. And then I kind of bent and crimped the side that was through and pulled it back through like a little drain snake almost. And I'm able to get a good amount of liquid through both now, and I've pulled a bunch of gunk out. So now I'm gonna throw one half. My Sonic cleaner is really small, so I'll throw one half in the Sonic cleaner and the ends, and then give it some more spritz with a carb cleaner and see where we're at after that. I think I might be able to save this, or at the very least run with it for now and then order one to be on the way in a couple weeks. All right, look at this, man. Absolutely beautiful in there. That is just biodiesel algae, man. Nasty. That's after pressure washing the inside. I just cannot get that out, so I'm gonna throw a bunch of diesel in here. It's really strong biocide. See if I can't get that out in clumps. Clean it up in there. The bottom actually doesn't look that rusty, but the sides, once you get up a little bit, have some rust. So we'll see. Alright, I almost didn't video this, but today after work I managed to find someone on Marketplace selling an identical tank to mine out of a car that's been sitting for a long time for the Toyota.
Real soon, I got a guy that wants he actually wants this. Well, he did.
Yeah.
He wants that and the rear third member.
Okay.
I think it was the third member or the rear end. Now yours,
It'll have
the
different...
diesel might have a higher geared rear end. Well, no, they ran pretty high RPM. They might have been the same.
Yeah, it does run pretty high.
Look out for the dog poop behind you.
Oh, thank you. All right. And you've got a good door handle. But after I bought it and took it home, I realized it's got this pinhole leak in it. And once I started wire wheeling it off, it actually got a little bigger. So I think I've got some really thin metal right here. I'm hoping that the rest of the tank's okay, but obviously there's going to be some rust. I've looked inside of it. I had a big mouse nest, and I've spent the last hour and a half cleaning all that out and throwing some rocks in there, shaking it apart. I think the plan is to weld a patch right here. My little Yes welder. It's the first time I'm using this, but I'll let you know how it works. Weld a patch in there, throw this in the truck with a couple inline filters before my main filters. I'll just have a bunch of fuel filters in there and run this so that I can actually daily drive the truck because, believe it or not, I actually sold my daily driver car to buy this because I'm super smart and awesome. Not to buy this, to get this. I sold my car. So I'll be throwing this in to drive for the meantime. Alright, just finishing up. It wasn't pretty. Took me a while to get this feeder sorted out with the right tension and everything. I bent wire a couple times, but here's my patch. She ain't pretty. You can see on this side I blew through a couple times. I got some really thin metal on the bottom of this thing, but I think she'll hold diesel. We'll see in a second. I think I'm gonna flip it upside down, put some rusties in the bottom, let that soak while I go take dinner. Then we'll come back out and send it. I'll just put her on in as long as she's not leaking. I think this will be good to go for the time being. Yeah, $30 tank and a free scrap piece of metal, and we are off to the races. Let's go. But for this pickup specifically, it's such a small little pipe, and seeing as I'm putting it in a pretty sketchy tank, I'm worried about this getting plugged up again and me having to do the whole thing over again. So I think I'm going to put a sock, or make a sock to go on the end of this, and just risk the sock clogging up rather than this pickup clogging up again. And, you know, who knows, maybe I'll be back in here in a month or two since it's winter and it's going to clog up with wax from the cold diesel. But I've got this cheap strainer that I've used for stuff. It looks dirty, but it's mostly like dried epoxy and random things. I'll try to clean it out, but we'll see. I think I'm just going to cut it off with a grinder and see if I can't use a stainless steel zip tie to zip tie it onto the bottom of this and use it as a kind of a preliminary strainer. So just in case I have a piece of the mouse nest that was in there still left in the filter, or, you know, algae or whatever, it's not going to just immediately plug my entire system. It'll have to plug kind of that entire surface area of that sock before I'm not getting any fuel. So yeah, I'll let you know how it looks when I'm finished. Alright, so it turns out that strainer is really hard to work with. So I've got it folded over itself a couple times on the top here, but I'm not going to be able to do like a stainless steel zip tie or anything on the top like I thought I might. It's just not pliable enough. But that's good, because if it was super pliable, then it could just move and still plug up the bottom there. So it's pretty firm. It's a pretty solid shape. It's going to keep its shape. I think I'm going to try to throw a weld bead and just see what happens, if it'll hold it. And if I can melt through a couple layers of it and stick them together, great. If it melts right through and blows a hole, also great. I'll just throw a stainless steel zip tie through it there. And then I got to figure out how to make sure it doesn't slide up or down on this. And I think I can throw a little bead of weld on this as well. And then either through a combination of welding and zip ties, I think I'll be able to figure it out. But I think this is going to work, and I like it better than the stock thing. So I don't know. I'll let you know what it looks like when I'm done. Alright, I'm not proud of what I've done, but here it is. Initial try to melt it together with the welder, ended up drilling a very nice hole through all of my mesh with my welder, and then I took two stainless steel Zip ties. One's around the fuel feed, which is this larger tube. That's just kind of holding this together. And then I took my welder and very carefully on my fuel return line, which is okay to damage just because it just dumps fuel back into the tank. I actually don't know why it's so long. I added a couple of, you can probably see them, nubbins there. I just welded on a couple of little nubbins. And then I put another stainless steel line through in the middle of both of them. So this can't go up or down without these coming off. And I wire wheeled those real nice to make sure that they've got some grip on this. And so now this whole thing moves a little bit, just enough that I can probably shove it onto the bottom of my tank. But it's not going to move up or down significantly because it can't escape those nubs. And so this should go in my tank like this and allow for my pickup not to get clogged by one little piece of debris that's still in there. It's kind of a redneck fix, but I think it's going to work pretty good. So I already checked and it fits inside of that little pickup tube. And if it doesn't work, then I'll just be pulling this out anyways because my pickup would be clogged. So there we go. Let's go. All right, new issue. I found that my several of the fuel lines for the vent off the tank were plugged, which means if by some miracle I was actually receiving fuel, it was vacuum locking eventually by running, which is kind of in line with what was happening as well. So I'm going to fix that real quick, replace some of these soft lines. I'm probably going to take out the stock. This is the stock one-way check valve with a vacuum pressure relief as well, and they clog and get old, so that just terminated into the frame originally to vent the tank, and I'm just going to eliminate that valve and order a little rollover valve that I can install like on the side of the bed mount or something. Still utilizing the stock hard lines for the vent because they're clear. Yeah, I don't know if that made sense. I'm cold and tired, but that's what I'm doing, so I'll check in a bit. Holy balls. It's, excuse my French, just hit about 11 p.m. and I just squirt carb cleaner directly into both my eyes. So you can see that in this threaded hole I've got a small rock. Ignore the inside of the tank, it's perfectly clean. I've got a rock that will not come out, and in this threaded hole I've got dirt. So let me just evacuate before I do this time. I was very smart the first time, and you know, despite the safety glasses that God blessed me with wearing every day, I don't think I'm getting that rock out. So this is gonna have 4 bolts in this fuel sending unit, and then that'll just have to be okay. 3 bolts in this fuel sending unit, and that will have to shoot, dude. I've got a magnet. I should be able to get that. Alright. Just another day in paradise. Mission complete. I even got that one threaded in. I just forgot the rock was there and put it in, so I don't know. It's probably fine. I switched all these little Phillips heads to tiny M4 70 thread bolts, because hopefully they don't rust through and then are impossible to take out like all of those Phillips head bolts are. I also miraculously found a tank bolt while I was working. Woohoo. Put that on now. Gonna connect my lines, probably fill a bunch of them with diesel, and probably see if I can start it because I need to whoop and holler before bed. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I should have this wrapped up and ready to drive once I can get someone to help me put this bed on. Woohoo! Probably, kinda. Success. Alright, it's officially tomorrow. But I think I'm finished. I replaced some of the fuel line here, the main feed line, whatever it's called. Put an inline filter. It should fit right inside of the bed mount there. so that I can actually see what's going on. That's not specifically for diesel fuel, but I should be replacing that a few times right as we go. But I'll be able to check on that guy from the side of the bed, and then you can't see anything over here because I didn't bring my light. Let me turn this on real quick. All right, there we go. Sorry for the horrible glare. I don't know what that is. Oh, there we go. Replaced some of these little lines. This is all done horribly jankily, but I need to make sure that everything works, and I wanted to hook it up tonight. The way that this was run was from this hard line here. It was looped to the inline filter and then ran around the brake booster to this electric helper pump and then to the hard lines into the filter. I wanted to shorten it, but it ended up, I don't like how it is right now. So I'm straight from the hard line up to this filter, and I kind of imagined going straight up, but it's just too short of a distance. So I'd have to mess with hard lines to actually change the routing in a way that is aesthetic. So this is what it is for now. That's a filter. That's a little helper fuel pump, so to help out the injector pump in these, because a new injector pump's like $3 grand. So it's just like a little 2 psi, little tiny pumper, barely does anything, but helps. It should help prime everything. And then I also took off the line here and then siphoned diesel all through the hard lines all the way back, and then took off the line here and siphoned diesel that way into, filled my filter up, filled everything. So system should be generally primed. There's only a couple empty spots, and I'm gonna let that electric pumper go for a little bit before I try to start it up. But let's see what happens here. You can see it's pretty cold outside. It's starting to freeze everything, so this might not be super exciting for y'all to watch, but I'm pretty freaking pumped, so that's what counts, right? Look at that beautiful, beautiful steering wheel. Nice. There we go. Okay, electric pumps on. Let's go. Glow plugs. About 15 seconds or so there. I wasn't watching. It's pretty cold outside, so I might need to do that again, but we'll see here. Some gas and oh. First try. All right. Air bubbles. Oh, air bubble. Big old air bubble. Let's get some of that. Some diesel back in there. Okay. Just gonna let that electric pump run for a little while. We'll get it a little warmer for another 5 or 10 with glow plugs. Assuming there's just a bunch of air in there, but real wary of running my injector pump with no fuel in it. I'm just terrified the thing's gonna go out. And there we go. We're on. Alright, air. Oh, bouncing. It's real cold outside, which is not helping this old diesel. But I think we're running, baby. Woo! All right, let's pump out. Oh, nice, dude. Awesome. I'll just leave that in there. Sweet, this too, actually. You got any other tools in here? Alright. Sounds good. A little bit of bell squeaking. Let's check out her filter back here. Not gonna lie, there's not a lot of movement there, huh? Interesting. I wonder if that's just because at idle these barely sip fuel, or I've got I blew through all the lines, so shouldn't have a clog or anything ridiculous like that. I wonder if there's still air further down the line, so it's not actually pulling from here yet as it fills up that air bubble. I don't know. I'll probably let this run until it warms up because it's so cold, and that'll get eliminated soon. I'm not gonna hooligan anything. I don't want it loud, but I do think that that looks rather restrictive, and I want to be able to hit 65 on the highway, so eventually that'll come out. There we go. Oh, I thought I saw something. Maybe not. Anyways, that's probably it for me. I might record when I get this bed back on. Everything's good. A little drive away video, or a video of me riding around, all swag like. But that's it for me tonight. I'm gonna go to bed probably. Probably a good idea. Tomorrow's New Year's. I'm just warming up, you know, getting ready to stay up all night or something. Have a blessed night, y'all. All right, just had my buddy Trent come over and help me pop the bed back on. It's after work. Ended a little early today because it's New Year's Eve. But I'm missing a few of these. There's a rubber gasket or little shock absorber that's supposed to go here. Looked like they were just cut out of conveyor belt. You can see that there's one in between the bed and the body, or the bed and the chassis. But I'm missing one here for the bottom. I'm missing 3 of those of the 8 bolts. I think they're probably just lost forever in my gravel here. So I don't know if you can tell, but I really enjoy just like repurposing, figuring out how to do stuff on old rigs like this. So thought about cutting apart these old bicycle tires that I've got for scrap from a scrap bicycle, but actually found these are pegs from a motorcycle that I have a project on somewhere else down there. I think I can just cut this rubber off, and I'll get 2 or maybe 3 of those rubber gaskets out of this this little thick rubber, and it's actually still pliable, and it's going to be a great little shock absorber. So I think I'm going to use this, and I'll let you know how it looks when I'm finished. Ooh, I've also got some old motorcycle grips from that same motorcycle. I might use these actually. It's going to be easier to cut apart and use. Sweet. Awesome. All right, here we go. Cut them up with my razor blade. Cut a little square out for the hole, and these are the less important of the 2 gussets, being that they're not in between the body and the frame. So okay, set you straight down. Oh, perfect. Great videography, Tyler. Very good video. Everybody enjoyed it. Anyways, they're probably gonna, as I tighten that, it's gonna smush. It's a little big, but you know, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be real good. Nice rubber absorber there. So, anyways, on to the next thing. I'm about to take it for a drive. Woo! All right, here I am on the side of the road. Just drove the car for maybe 10 minutes or less. Sorry for my voice. I got some throat thing yesterday. But engine randomly lost power as if I was losing fuel, and then died again just on the road here. So it died pretty quick there, but I could tell that my gas pedal kind of lost function a little bit before, and so I still think it's got to be air or fuel. My remaining things I've yet to check are that little fuel pump here, the electric fuel pump, might need to be replaced. That's 1. And 2 is the injector pump itself. I guess 3 would be air, if the air filter's super clogged. I guess we could be starting it, but it doesn't really make sense that would happen after warm-up to me. But I guess something could be happening. And then the 4th, obviously, boogeyman, is electrical issues that only happen after warm-up. It's pretty rare, but you can end up with like fuses and connections that'll do something weird once the engine bay is up to operating temperature, and I've had that before in a car, so I'll really pray it's not that, because this doesn't have warning lights or OBD for me to actually tell what would be doing that. But I'll continue to problem solve and replace things until it's working. I got an appointment at Les Schwab at 5:30 today for this to get new tires, so I hope I can start it up and drive it there. Got oil change I brought to the farm today for work to do an oil change while I'm working there, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. If I can get it started back up and driven, we shall see. All right, bye-bye. All right, test number 1 for the fuel is to isolate this fuel pump from the equation. So unplugged that and just going straight from this fuel filter up and just using the injector pump as my fuel pump for now. This is fully disconnected from the system. I was able to unplug the relay that goes to it so it's not running, and the truck just started up, idled fine. I won't really know if this is working or not, or if that was the issue until I go for a bit of a drive and see if it dies again. But I will update you either way on if that happens. It'll just have to be later today. See ya. All right, just completed my maiden voyage to Tractor Supply. Got some new rubber, feeling good about my confidence on the wet asphalt now, and made it 20 minutes here. We'll see if I make it 20 minutes back, but I think that might be it for the truck's fueling problems. We'll see. Hopefully I'll film an outro next for this video. That's ended up being really long to get this Toyota to the point where it's driving, and then next video I'll be fixing some water leakage into the cab here. Probably getting a toolbox, making the truck more drivable, interior lights, random things like that, I think, just to make this a truck that's really fun to drive all the time. Anyways, yeah.